talk a little bit about flanking, right, and getting the angle for Kembativz use. That's a huge thing. Like we said, sometimes you do have to go right up the middle and meet the attack with your attack, but then we always want to get to the side. Sometimes we want to get to the side preemptively, so we're going to talk about a couple of different ways to do that. So you remember, Rod, from the first video that we did, what we're going to do is first talk about the arm drag, okay? And the arm drag would be something that you can use from some gesturing and all of this going on, but you can also use it just when someone's in your face and they're doing the kind of standing up, chicken chest and coming at you like this, getting in your face. So what I'm trying to do here, as Rod comes into my space, just do the kind of chicken chest and right. So the first thing I'm trying to do is slide this hand right here, okay? And all I'm gonna do is basically control this hand so he can't pull out, all right? Because I don't wanna do this and then just have him lift the elbow and come out. So I've gotta come in and turn just like this. So all I'm doing is, I'm gonna slide in here. I'm already offline, he can't hit me. I'm gonna keep this trapped for a second. Now I'm gonna pull and take my leg and open the gate. So all I'm doing is basically supporting this arm, and then I'm gonna support his shoulder. So I'm doing this, right? So now it's up to me whether I wanna hit him or whether I just wanna shove him away and take off. Okay, so again, I'm talking to him here, I'm like calming him down, and all I'm doing is this. All right, so you can see I'm now at that good 4 o'clock position, 5 o'clock position, where I wanna be parked on his hip and right here looking at him. Now, once I've got pressure on the back of his arm right here, so I've already turned him around, I can feel, if he starts to turn around, I can feel that, right? And that would allow me to obviously either stay behind him or to actually strike him, right? Because at that point, I know that he's still in the fight, he still wants to be aggressive. So again, the big thing here is to make sure that you've got this arm passing between you and him, and all I'm doing is turning like this so that I can fire off a strike or just get away, walk away. You can also do this gently. I mean, if the guy's a passive person and he's just kind of like dealing with it, you can literally turn him around and send him on his way. Rod is, by the way, shit-faced sometimes in that passive person. That's why he did that so well. Don't judge me. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Now, if he raises the arm and he starts pointing at me, it's a little bit different because obviously if his arm's down, I always want to go above the elbow. I don't want to ever go down below here because if he just bends his arm, my hand comes off. Okay, so I always want to go to the upper level. But if his hand is up, I can get that angle by doing this, right? So in other words, I don't want people poking me in the eye. I don't want them poking me in the face. I don't want their hands in my face anyway, neither should you. All right, so once that happens, all I'm doing is this. So you can see the same manipulation of the arm happens. I'm pushing it down so that I can get the upper level. And then I'm gonna push-pull right here, and then I'm right back to where we started. Okay, so you can get it, it's just a little bit more difficult. Obviously, the fault check for this, the failure to this, would be a guy pulls his arm back. So if his arm is out and I do this and he pulls it back, just shove him away, and now you're still in a better position than you were, okay? Because it hasn't risen to that level of fighting yet. Interestingly, Albin is one of our great friends. We love Albin, and a wrestler, he's trained with Bulgarians. He's just a really, really excellent grappler, both standing up and on the ground. And years ago, we were in Croatia doing our slam dance where we field different problems to our people, and we say, like, here's a really bad problem. How would you solve this? And we basically let Albin and Mario work on this, and what they came up with was their problem was, how do you disarm a weapons retention position? Which is, if you think about it, if Rod's in weapons retention position, there's no way for me to get back to that gun, right? Because obviously he's in a weapons retention position. And what Albin did was he applied the arm drag. So again, if his gun's here, all he was doing was this, right? So he was able to basically step around and just pull into it. Now, even if you didn't do a takedown where you like throw someone on the ground, obviously I would collapse onto him, control the weapon and all that shit. We're just doing a demonstration here. But even if all I do is this, and I come here and wrap him up, I'm in a better position than I was. And again, in the real world, disarms aren't always the cool guy thing. In the real world, a disarm can just be making him unable to use his weapon. It might be making him not willing to use his weapon. It might be making him unconscious so he can't use his weapon, right? It's not always just a you know, a version of the muzzle, trapping, ripping it away, and then doing the fucking cool guy look around, right? We have to broaden our definition of what a disarm is and what it isn't, okay? So let's go to another method of getting the flank. Another method we can do is a shoulder drag. So you've just seen the arm drag where I'm slipping in and doing that. This is a variation on a theme, and all I'm doing is coming here almost to a frame. So if you look at it from this angle, what I'm doing is I'm talking to him, but I'm doing this, right? So how aggressive he is or whatever he's given me is going to determine how much I ring his bell. If I want to ring his bell because he's really aggressive, I'm going to take my forearm and I'm going to slam it right into the junction of his trap and his neck, okay, where the vagus nerve is and all that. So it'd be something, boom, where I'm actually hitting. Then I'm going to support the upper lever and the back of his neck and pull that shoulder around. And again, it has the same effect. Now I'm behind him, all right? So the shoulder drag, again, is we're talking, I hit here, framed out away from the weapon there, controlling the weapon here, and then I'm just going to collapse my hand onto his bar, step this way, right here, and I'm going to pull and step at the same time. And I'm right back in the same position. And why is rabbit punching not allowed in any combat sports? Because it's so damn effective, right? So if I can hit him at the base of the skull, the back of the neck, that's obviously a great target, and that's what I want to do. So that's a simple shoulder drag. The last one is the push-pull, okay? And a push-pull, again, is an explosion, all right? So again, you've got the guy who's talking to you, his hands are down, but he's giving you the mean mug, he's kind of getting in your face. All I'm doing when that happens is I'm gonna push one shoulder and pull the other shoulder, okay? So as I'm talking to him, I'm doing this, okay? So again, now I'm in the flank, I've got his hip, it's there for the chin rip takedown, right? I can take this arm, slam the back of his neck, grab his head and control it and pull him around, or I can just hit the back of him, or I can walk the fuck away, right? I can literally push pull and then just go, all right? So again, 3 methods to get an angle on someone just prior to when the fight's about to happen. Now, having said all that, in the middle of an actual confrontation, when the fighting's already started and there's aggression, these things will still work, all right? You just have to be inured to the combat environment and have practiced them. So in other words, if you're used to struggling and you're used to fighting with consequence, like you could get hit and hurt, then you'll see those opportunities because time slows down and you'll be able to take advantage of them because you have good proprioception. In other words, you're in the moment. It's not going by at 500 fucking miles an hour. If you never train, when it happens, it's gonna seem like it happened with blinding speed. If you train all the time and you're used to hands getting thrown at you and getting roughed up and people trying to choke you and people trying to kick you and knee you and elbow you, and you do that routinely, then basically you start to see in real time. It doesn't go by at 100 miles an hour, it goes by in real time. And that gives you the opportunity to exploit anything that you see, any vulnerability that you see of an attacker. And that's a little bit about flanking.